It is your life. There are some people that would question that. Today, especially. Very tired, rough day, rough morning. What can I tell you? That's my life story, everybody. Anyhow, good morning. How's everything going with everybody? Boy, I sure wouldn't want to be in Mexico right now. Um, People are saying that it's vengeance is going on from this cartel leader that got shot by the military, and I say it's a power struggle. I think people are just, going nuts trying to grab what they can. And because he was supposedly so vicious that, he was feared more than anything else. So I think this is a power struggle that's going on. It's going to go on for a little while. It'll take a while till they kill who they want to kill and they decide what that's not working out right and that their biggest enemy is the military. Because the military is sitting back and letting it happen. Trust me, they don't care. It's not our military, it's the Mexican military. Supposedly operating with our intelligence, which is an oxymoron because we don't have intelligence. But, what can I tell you? Oh, wow, I'm tired, man. Ooh, rough night. That's the cartel boss that was killed. That's the biggest story. Then, that's the number one story. And then buried in there's a gunman that was killed at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know whether it was the weekend or right before the weekend. Got into Mar-a-Lago. I don't know how he got by a security gate, but not far enough where, he could do any damage. They caught him right away, and I guess he picked his rifle up and aimed it at him, and they just filled him full of lead, It's kind of where they react, But there seems to be a trend going of people trying to get into Mar-a-Lago or get into the White House grounds, and they're all being described as potential assassins. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. Mar-a-Lago is probably true, unless he wanted to bang Trump's wife or something. I don't know. You never know. But it's a 60-year-old that hasn't used it in a long time, folks. I don't think that's something you want to get involved in, But anyhow, this is that's just the most I've ever heard about or read about, where they've printed stories of people trying to get on the presidential grounds that are armed. I've seen people try to get on the presidential grounds without guns or anything, just trying to get on it to, maybe get an autograph or something like that. They don't know what they really want. They're not there to really harm anybody. They're just, crazy. These people are armed, Of course, the weapon of choice is an AR-15, which you can probably buy in a Woolworths in Florida. I think that's where I bought my 22, going back 70 years ago. Anyhow, I was 12, so when I got my gun, so that's got rid of it when I was before I was 17. 18. I got rid of the rifle. Had a lot of shotguns, but I got rid of the rifle because the rifle team didn't exist anymore. There was no reason for me to keep it. Couldn't use it for anything. Had already gotten in trouble for using a BB gun to take out people's windows, so I was a bad kid. What can I tell you? Lucky that I didn't go to jail. Lucky my old man didn't go to jail for cursing at the cops. What can I tell you? It's just a wonderful world we live in. But this is like the most people I've seen trying to get at him. And it's like this goes back to the people that are saying Trump's got to go. Well, look at it this way. Next in line is J.D. Vance. And after that is Roberts. Robert's a do-nothing, know-nothing, dumbhead bastard that has to have somebody tell him what to do. Hasn't had an original idea in years. So you're sitting there with Vance, who 4 years ago was called before Trump got elected. He was calling Trump a Nazi faggot and all this other stuff. He's a fascist. He's horrible human being, and then all of a sudden that's my idol, that's my daddy Trump gonna make me president. Yeah, well, you're gonna shoot somebody, shoot him first. But you don't have it. You got to look at the order of succession, and you got to know what you're talking about, and you got to see this. That you know how many people you got to go through to get somebody that might be halfway decent. You can't impeach them all. You can say, "Oh, well, we'll just impeach them all." No, you won't, because there's favorites in there, and people will just say, "That's enough," because you can't do that because that's disruptive to the country's operation, and everything will stop. And you'll end up with somebody with a gun coming in and saying, "All right, I'm in charge now." Which is what Trump wants to do anyhow. I don't think Trump thinks about successors, though. I think Trump thinks he's going to live forever. And he's not, and Musk's not, and Thule's not, and Stephen Miller. None of those guys nobody's going to live forever. What's the old comedy line? Nobody gets out of here alive. I think that was from a Western or something, some war movie or something. I saw that in. But, that's the way it goes. You're not getting out of there. So what do? You sit around and I started off early today, so I'm missing a lot of people. But that's because I'm under pressure to get things done today so that I can have some time to myself. Anyhow. So you have... That's the biggest problem I see with impeaching Trump. Doing it legally or even if you do it illegally, it doesn't make any difference. If you shoot him, you get Vance the next day. Then within an hour, you'll have Vance, and he's liable to do anything crazy because he's his buddy's Hegseth, and that's another whack job. So and you can't tell what's going to happen there. You just have no clue. And that's not what I want for presidency. I want some sort of solvency. I want somebody that's going to be a decent human being. And I don't see anybody in that list of successions because Trump picked them all. Most of them. I'll have to go look at that later on, and I'll come back to you when I do my regular video later. But that's not a really good thing. But Trump breeds violence. Violence begets violence. That's the deal. And he's got all his morons, secret police. His ICE patrol is acting more and more like a Gestapo organization than it is anything else. I think what should be done is cities should stop these guys from coming in with masks on. Take your masks off. We're going to photograph you. We're going to run you. We're going to vet you before we let you come in our city. So that's going to cause some serious problems. But I think that's what has to be done. These guys have to be vetted before they're allowed to come into the city because these guys are not all. What do you want to say? Legal, illegal, whatever it is. They're just not right. They're. Yeah, they've done some bad stuff. Some of them, a lot. There's quite a few of the. Apparently, there's quite a few from January 6th that were paroled by Trump that are now working for ICE. I don't know whether that's true or not because you can't investigate ICE because it's just they won't let you near them. But I think some town, someplace in the United States is going to stop these guys from coming in. And when they try to force their way in, they're going to shoot them. And then we're going to have a real crisis. But I definitely believe that these guys should be vetted before they're allowed to enter a city. At least law enforcement should know who these people are. Unmasked, photographed, Have the you don't want to post their photographs on the internet? Fine, but make sure they're vetted before they enter the city. I'd post the 50 videos on the internet if I was me, but that's just me, because I think it's about time these guys face some of the people really face the people that they've been whose lives they've been fucking with all this time. I think if they knew who they are, there are some organizations in some countries that would definitely try to come after them in some way, legally or illegally. You know, so maybe that's a good thing that they don't do it. Oh well, what can I tell you? Um, I don't know. What else went on over the weekend? I can't remember. I had my grandson's third birthday on Saturday. It was done here because of my wife's inability to climb stairs. So, she can do it, but it takes a half hour. And if you got to pee, that's a long time. You know what I mean? So they decided to have it here, and it was fun. Some stuff goes on that I don't understand, and I don't want to understand it. So that's the way, that's there. Um, there's an attempt to keep certain parts of the family together when it's the child as being the toy, because nobody else likes anybody else in that family. So it's kind of strange. But what else is new in families? Families are all strange. Family life is a bunch of people with different personalities that are related to each other, trying to figure each other out. They don't see enough of each other. In a lot of cases, to know that they're to call them close. Close families are a different story. But close families are subjected to sometimes to jealousy. You know, I'm just subjected to idiocy because I have, my family doesn't exist really. I have a niece who's very much. She's same age as my wife, and she's extremely successful and has been most of her life. My youngest niece passed away from a brain aneurysm, I believe it was, a few years ago. Her kids, which are my great nephews, are all out there, and they're very successful. The oldest one is married and is a successful pharmaceutical sales rep. I think that's what he's doing. Yes, it was the last time I checked. And the younger one's a chef out in Aspen, Colorado, food capital of America. So, the kids are doing well. Everybody's doing well. Uh, their father, I don't know about. I was never friendly with him, and I've heard he's got tuberculosis or something and isn't allowed to be near the family. I have no idea. They don't seem to be too upset about it, so I'm not going to be upset about it. Some strange things went on before my niece passed away, and I don't know about it, and I don't want to, and I am not in a position to comment on anything that went on. And so I just, it's all hearsay remarks that were made in passing to me that I just don't know anything about, and I don't really want to get bothered by it. I have the one nephew that I'd like to see. Well, actually, I saw the first one. He was a year old, and now he's a giant. And I'd like to see the other younger one too. Just to say hello. This is what I look like. Like me or don't like me. I really don't give a crap. But I like you guys. Because I loved your sister, your mom. She was unique. She was funny. She was supportive of some of my wacky ideas and stuff. So I kind of, held a special place for her. Every few years, I write to her on her website, on her Facebook page, which has been kept alive. Seems that's a trend. That's how Facebook gets the numbers they get. A good portion of those people are relatives that have passed away, and people don't have the heart to get rid of. My cat is still on there. Flounder the cat has his own webpage on there, and he has his own webpage, and we have a webpage together. That I have hundreds of followers on those pages, and I never write anything there anymore. So I just let them stay that way. Uh, what can I tell you? Anyhow, you know that this is my good buddy, my girlfriend over here. This is Lucy. She's still around. She's here. She's approaching 6 years old, which is a senior in most dog worlds, which I don't understand. You know, you're not even a mature child at 6 in human life. But you know, anyhow, she's here, and she's being my best friend as always. Stays close to me. She keeps a close eye on me. Sometimes that worries me that there's something wrong with me I don't know about. You know, but anyhow. All right, so I bullshitted long enough on this video, and I'll go back and research some stuff and talk about some other things possibly on my posted video, which I will do right after this, since I don't have time to do anything to get involved in anything I want to get involved in. All right, so listen, find a subscribe button, hit it, or you know, look for my video later on. You get if you're a subscription holder, you get notified, so you know I'm live now and everything like that. So, hey, you know you missed me. Don't get excited about that. All right, I miss myself a lot too. So anyhow, I'll talk to you guys in my other video, or I will see you tomorrow. Take care.